Man, I'm having some technical challenges, boy, and I think the ghost of my producer, he got there haunting me. Every time I say I don't need it, some come in. He said, "Yeah, you do." Enter. Hey, that's what's up. Good evening, good evening, good evening. This is your host, Joaquin Thompson, coming to you live with the Daily Bread Radio Show. And I was saying, I know my producer is like somewhere like I bet you thought I thought I ain't do nothing, but now I'm like, man, he got me. Well, I feel like Stevie Wonder in here, man. Just pressing buttons and things going off, but we got a very, 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 oh, wait a minute. Hey! Gotta let that pop on one more good time for me though, man. That right there set the mood, boy. That set the mood. Oh, man. I see you, Big D. I see you, Big D. I see you. I see you.
I'll always have a positive word because I'm here to serve.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Good evening, good evening, good evening. This is Joaquin Thompson, host of the video show, coming to you live from the home studio this week. My producer, he had some medical challenges with a family member, so we're definitely going to keep him and his family member lifted up in prayer. We believe in God for a speedy recovery for his family member. So hopefully we'll be back in the studio next week. But if not, hey, like we always talk about, hey, we ain't gonna let nothing stop us now. We ain't gonna stop. We ain't gonna have no excuses. We ain't gonna do nothing. We're gonna just keep it moving. We're gonna hope for the best for everybody. But, when God has you on purpose and you got things that you need to do and you only got a little bit of time to get them done in, you got to keep pushing. You got to keep pressing on. So thank God for the home studio. Got all my information here. So if I need to, pull up something, look up something, research something, I can just go right to the lab and pull it out. So got a lot of information for you all tonight. Have a business owner, gentleman by the name of AJ that I met recently that I invited him to join the show. So he should be calling in between the hours, between 8 and 9 p.m. And we want to make sure that I give him some time. I want to, interview him, talk about some different things, because one of the things that really motivates me for having the show is to make sure that as I get things that I just share it. So it ain't about me being the Jedi or the Yoda or the all-knowing sensei. I'm not with all of that. But what I do want to do is this. I want to be a conduit. I want things to come through me, go out to my listening audience, so that way we all can benefit. So it's really not about one person benefiting or one certain group benefit. I want everybody to benefit. And that way, we can take that information out into the world and take it down into our legacy, because it's all about legacy, legacy, legacy. Jay-Z got a song out now on his 444 album, and it's called Legacy, Legacy, Legacy. And that's what we're going to be talking about. And we want to make sure that we continue to pour into our kids and our children and our children's children, just like it talks about in the Bible. So got a couple of scriptures I'm going to share with you all today too. Some stuff that I was thinking about that I want you all to just just to marinate on, because one thing I do believe in is I do believe in leaders in the church. I believe in pastors. I do believe in ministers. I believe in bishops, archbishops, popes. I believe in all of that, okay? But one thing that I do believe in even more so than that is I believe everybody should research whatever information that they're concerned about on their own, because I may say something and that's my interpretation, but I'm man. So you have a different background, you have a different belief system, you have a different culture. So you may get it a little different, but I think some things in the Bible though are pretty straightforward. Meaning when you read them, that's what it is. It's kind of like when somebody says something to you in the street. Sometimes some things can't be, it's only one way, it's only one way to interpret what they're saying. It's like if somebody say, hey, I'm going to do X to you, it's only one way to interpret that. But I think sometimes we want to, we need to take a step back, take some time and think through different situations. So I definitely want to share a couple of those scriptures with you all this evening. Also want to talk to you about, we're coming up on the end of the year. So we've got a few topics we want to talk about at the end of the year, like who's keeping score. And what I mean by who's keeping score is who's counting the money, who's watching the debt, who's eliminating the debt, who's keeping score. Because as the holiday season is upon us and we're getting all of this information in and we're getting in the holiday spirit and everybody's being jovial and family time and everything, we still want to make sure that we staying focused on the money. Stay focused on the money. I mean, I get it. I get the pressure. I get the, he wants this or she wants that. But first of all, you got to think after Christmas is New Year's. And you don't want to go into the new year doing some of the same things that you were doing in 2017 when you go into 2018. Because 2018, you should be, wiping the slate clean and getting to some of those things that you say you wanted to do, some of the dreams, aspirations, and goals that you wanted to, achieve and pursue. You need to get into that mindset. So as this year is winding down, go ahead and get ready. So this might not be the year for the Maserati. You might have to be off to next year. Get your weight up, as they say, or go ahead and stack your chips or whatever. But you want to get comfortable. You want to get that stress off of you. So we're going to talk more about who's keeping score. The other topic I want to talk about is, and I just alluded to it, was holiday spending. Holiday spending is at an all-time high. And I'm going to share some data with you. And again, don't believe me. I'm challenging you, go out, do your own research. And your own research now is so easy. You don't have to go down to the local library. Don't even have to pick up a newspaper. All thing you got to do is pick this thing up right here. And pretty much everybody has one of these things. Just pick this thing up and say, hey, let me know what's the average person spending for the holidays. And it will tell you what the average person, what the data is saying. And then you can dig a little deeper. So you don't have to believe what I'm saying on the Daily Bread Radio Show, but we're going to talk about holiday spending as well. Want to welcome some of our guests. I see Kevin, Rue to the Deuce Dog, Eminem, I see you, Rue to the Bras. My sister-in-law, Loretta, I see you on. Mark Watts, Big Dank, out of where? Dude, bro. I see you on too, bro. That's my little brother. And Bubba D, a.k.a. Brian Stewart, I see you on as well. I appreciate all the love, all of the support, all the encouragement, all of the kind words, because I'm on episode 30. So with episode 30, I had to make a note of that. On episode 30, I still got 970 shows to go. So I'm going to write that down. I only got 970 to go. So 30 now. This is number 30, and I got 970 to go. So having a bunch of fun. So Wap, I see you just joined. Appreciate you, because one of the things that I want to bring up about when you pursue something is nothing. You only need a few people. You only need a few people to say, yeah, you can do it. You remember how you used to be when you was a shorty? When you when you was like in elementary, you get ready to get into a fight, and you say, you know what? I really don't want to fight this dude, but it's so many people watching. And then somebody say, hey, man, dog, you could take it. You could take it. You on the playground, on the slide board, somebody to snatch your annihilators out your hand. They say, you only need one person, one homie to say, hey, man, I think you can take him. And whether you think you can take him or not, you go ahead and handle that. So I'm thankful that every week that I have some people that take time out their busy day to log into my show just to see what I'm talking about, to encourage me. So that's why every week I'm gonna say something about that. I appreciate the support. And without you, it wouldn't be no me. I wouldn't even be doing this show. But you all inspire me to do different things. So we're going to talk about holiday spending, who's keeping score. Third thing I want to talk about is this. It's time, at the end of the year, it's time for us to take inventory. And what I mean by taking inventory is, I think it's very important for us to take some time out, cut the TV off, cut out all of the different distractions, go somewhere, maybe, a quiet place in your home, or, maybe go out somewhere to a coffee shop, get a cup of coffee, cup of tea, something, and just think. Just take inventory of yourself, take inventory of your goals, take inventory of your capacity. And this is something that I want to talk about more tonight too, is our capacity. Because one thing is, I think, and again, this is just my opinion, and I've been guilty of this. Sometimes God gives us tools, talents, and abilities to do certain things, but for whatever reason, we don't work to our capacity. For whatever reason. Sometimes it's just, we don't believe it. We don't believe ourselves that we can be that great. Or we don't believe that we can achieve something. So we're going to talk some more about taking inventory this evening as well. So as we jump into the agenda, I put the call-in number in. We got a call-in number. It's different than the one that we would normally have in the home studio. The call-in number is right here in the comment section. So if anybody wants to call in with a comment, question, talk about what they're doing for the holiday, talk about the show, anything that you want to do, the call-in number is right there, 404-461-9368. That's our number to the home studio, because we ain't stopping. We're going to do whatever it takes. We're going to keep going, because we got to get them 970 under our belt, so that way we can get on TV, we can get on Sirius Radio, we can just keep doing it big and keep having fun. So while we're waiting on our guests to call in, I'm going to go ahead and jump right in. Let's talk about holiday spending first. Time out. Before we do holiday spending, let me share a couple of scriptures with you all that kind of move me. And if you have something to write with, I would encourage you to write these down, or just make a note of them. You can go back after the show, look them up. Pretty straightforward. And like I shared with you all before, many times what I do during the month is I read Proverbs, the proverb that corresponds with the day of the month. So I start off with the first day and just go through Proverbs. There's 31 Proverbs in the Bible. And at least that way, that kind of keeps me in the Bible. As I'm going, it kind of keeps me in the Bible. So I want to share some things that kind of just moved. It just resonated in my spirit when I was reading them on yesterday on the 29th. So the first one is Proverbs 29 and verse 2. Proverbs 29 and verse 2. And it reads, when the righteous are in authority, and this is, you're going to see this as clear as day. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked beareth rule, people mourn. So the first thing I thought about was 44, 45. And that's right here in the Bible. So you can interpret it however you want to, but when I read that just kind of let me know everything's going to be all right. It's preordained, it's predestined, so ain't no need of worrying about what 45 is doing. Just stay focused on God. Because again, it reads, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked beareth rule, people mourn. And that's pretty much where we are right now between 44 and 45. So just make a note of that, and you can go back, like I said, and take a look at that. Proverbs 29 and verse 7. The righteous considereth the righteous considereth the cause of the poor, but the wicked regardeth not to know it. So if you think about that, the way that I thought about that is self. A lot of times we think about, as long as we doing good, eating good, driving good, dressing good, having a good time, healthy, we don't even think about our brother or our sister that may be out there struggling. So what this kind of jumped out and said to me is the righteous consider the cause of the poor. So people that may be less fortunate than us, this is the time, not just this time of year, we should be giving all the time. That's why we have the scholarship program. That's why we have these different giving campaigns, because it's not just our students that are graduating or our children or our nieces, our nephews. We need to be thinking about the people that are in our community, our friends' children, other people that we can assist. We need to be thinking globally and not just thinking about self. So that's another very good proverb that kind of jumped out at me. The next one is Proverb 29:11. A fool uttereth all his, this is a good one. A fool uttereth all his mind. Listen to the, now I got to break it. Let me say that one more time. This is one of my favorite ones. I read this. When I read this, I shut it up. A fool uttereth all his mind, but a wise man keep it until the afterwards. So that means, to me, that means this. When you start to get a lot of this from whoever, it could be at work, it could be at school, it could be with a family member, it could be with a friend. When you get to the point where you can hold it, when you can sit back and just hold it, when you really want to just say something that's so, you know, foul, vile, whatever, you like, no, I'm going to let you know how I really think. But when you get to the point where you could be so cold and so cool with it, where you just like, you know what? I'm good. It don't really matter what you say. I'm good. And that's right in the Bible. That's in the Bible. So you don't have to worry about like who made that up. It's in the Bible. Proverbs 29:11. It's right there in the Bible. The next one, Proverbs 29:18. Everybody's heard the first part of this one. Everybody knows the first part. And you all probably fill in the blank. Where there's no vision, the people perish. Now, we've all heard that when growing up. We've heard it even all the way up to the present day. Where there's no vision, the people perish. We've heard that part, but we didn't hit a full part of that verse. And the way that it reads is, where there is no vision, the people perish. But he, listen to this, but he that keepeth the law, happy is he. So basically he's saying, not just the law, like man-made law, but the law of God. But the law of God, not just having vision, but you got to keep the law. So long as you keep God's laws, and nobody's perfect, I get that. We all fall short. I get it. I know that. But we can always come back and do better than we did yesterday, or try to do better, or try to live better than we did yesterday. So that was a deep proverb to me. That's 29:18. Where there is no vision, the people perish, but he that keepeth the law, happy is he. And you may be out there thinking like, what does this have to do with personal finance? This has everything to do with personal finance. Because the thing about money is this, money is nothing more than energy. Money is not something tangible. That's just paper. That stuff that we exchange, currency, that's just paper. But money itself is just a tool. It's a tool that can be used for something good. It's also a tool that can be used for something destructive. So having a spiritual base, having a foundation that's good, that's going to make everything better. That's going to bring you peace, because that's what everybody wants. Everybody don't really want to be rich. What people really want to do, people really want to be at peace. They want to have peace in their life. They want to be at a space where they can just be calm. They're not stressed about bills. They're not stressed about car payments. They're not stressed about, hey, how am I going to pay this off? Hey, where's the money going to come from this? You want to be at peace. So staying in the word is going to give you that peace, because just having money is not going to make you happy. Money is not going to make you happy, but you got to stay grounded in the word, so that way at least you'll have something that can be your anchor, something that's going to be able to help you get through those different trials and tribulations that we all go through in life. So a couple more scriptures, Proverbs 29:23. A man's pride, this is another great one. A man's pride shall bring him low, but honor shall uphold the humble in spirit. A man's pride shall bring him low, but honor shall uphold the humble in spirit. So with that one, I always think about like, pride can get you in trouble. It's a lot of people that are incarcerated now behind pride. It's a lot of people that have lost their lives behind pride. It's a lot of arguments and strife and things amongst family members that have been created based on pride. So what the word is saying is we have to make sure that we understand that pride will bring you low, but you want to make sure that you humble yourself so that way your spirit itself will be strong. So that's just something to think about. That's Proverbs 29 and 23. And the last one is Proverbs 29 and 25, the 25th verse. The fear of man bringeth a snare, but whoso putteth his trust in the Lord shall be safe. Now, again, that's just, my interpretation is it's no need of worrying about it. It's no need of worrying about it. It's already done. Them bills, done. That health condition, done. That whatever you were praying for, done. Whatever that goal is that you striving for in life, it's already done. And the thing about it is you always want to make sure that you keep everything in order. So if you think about it from that way, from that standpoint, if everything is already done, it's nothing else for you to do but to continue to follow the word and just act on it. You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to stress about it. You don't have to fight about it. You don't have to put your pride in it. Just let it go and let God take care of it. And in the end, you'll be able to look back. I'm sharing that with one of my frat brothers recently. In years to come, you'll look back on this time, whatever that challenge is that you might have been going through, you'll look back on it and start laughing and be like, man, I remember when, I was really, really, really concerned about that. But just stay there. The fear of man bringeth a snare, but whoso putteth his trust in the Lord shall be safe. So, and that's 29 and 25. So just wanted to share a couple proverbs with you all this evening as part of the Daily Bread radio show. Again, we try to make sure that we stay spiritually based. So that way that we know exactly what we're doing, how we're doing it, why we're doing it, the way that we're doing it. And that way we look like we at peace. So that way we're not going out into the world and we just like, all worked up. Just like we have to be different. We have to learn how to do things differently than our counterparts. So if everybody else is going to the left, we need to be going to the right. And that's real. So that's scriptures for today. The next one, let's talk about holiday spending real quick. Holiday spending. So when you think about holiday spending, that's always an area that kind of, I guess it concerns me in a sense because many people, reach out to me and we're working on different strategies about different ways to eliminate debt, increase our savings, buy assets, get rid of liabilities, things of that nature. But many times what's happening is we're really making our situation worse when you start thinking about holiday spending. Now, recently I did some research and research is just something that's documented. So USA Today, look, November 27th. USA Today says, according to USA Today, it says record Cyber Monday could signal full sprint of the buying season. It says Black Friday shoppers spent, just Black Friday alone, just one day, Black Friday. Black Friday shoppers spent $5.3 billion. $5.3 billion on Black Friday. And Cyber Monday, it was forecasted that they would spend another 6.6. So that's roughly about $11.5 billion in 2 days. Now, the question becomes, I was already in a hole. I was already kind of struggling in a sense. And now I'm taking myself further back than I was before because I'm trying to get out of debt. I'm trying to save more. I'm trying to have more money for other things that I want to do. I'm trying to put some things in place for my children. I'm trying to put some things in place for my for the people that are coming behind me. So one of the things that I'm looking at is like, when you start thinking about debt, the word that comes to mind to me is entree. entree. And I use that word a lot of times on this show because when you think about being an entree, when you go out to a restaurant and you order your entree, ribeye, steak, lobster, what have you, that's the main course. And the way that I look at holiday spending and the way that I look at a lot of people that are already struggling is you need a certain number of consumers to be purchasing things in order for other people to eat off of them. And that's the way I look at it. It's a small group of people, that 1% or the top 10%. Those people are really relying on everybody else to be spending money so they can benefit and get wealthier, as opposed to just having a budget. There's nothing wrong with spending, but make sure that you have a budget in place so that way that you know when the holidays come around, the season that we're in now, you don't have to be Ebenezer Scrooge or nothing like that. But at the same time, you want to be practical and not get caught up in it so that way you don't come out of the holiday season in a worse financial situation than you were going into it. So, and there's nothing like coming out of the holiday season and getting that first credit card statement and say, man, I had no idea I spent this amount of money on X, Y, and Z. So I think it's really time for us to have the courage to the point where we can say, you know what, I would like to do X or Y for him or her, but I need to scale it down because I'm really trying to do something, sacrifice now, so that way I'll be in a much stronger position in the future. No, it's hard. And I'm telling you, it's hard for me too. And my family, they don't want to hear that. Nobody want to hear they're getting the small gift this year. But the only way you can make progress is you got to pull back. I mean, if you're going to start losing weight, you got to pull back. You can't just keep eating and say, hey, I'm going to lose weight. You ain't stop eating, bro. You got to first you got to stop. You got to stop eating first. That's number one. And when it comes to finances, the first thing you got to do is stop spending or curtail your spending. You know, get yourself to a point where you can be like, I'm a lot stronger, because it all boils down to, you know, having a goal. As Dwayne said, you know, debt-free should be your main goal. Exactly. Because when you become debt-free, this is what happens when you become debt-free. Somebody else becomes your entree. You move from being eaten to starting to eat other things. Now you're able to eat. So when everybody's buying whatever they're buying, like, oh, they're getting all this stuff they ordering out of Amazon. That's cool. You want them to order stuff off of Amazon. Why? Because you got a whole bunch of Amazon stock. You've invested in Amazon. You've invested in Walmart. So now you eating, because now you got assets. You don't want to be on the other end. You buying, you purchasing, you running up all these different credit card bills. You don't have no plan, no goal. And then you take from 2017 and move into 2018 with things that you want to leave. Some things you need to leave in 2017. Some things and some people. And what I mean by some people, sometimes we just don't have, some people call it willpower. I call it willpower mixed with discipline, mixed with decision. Sometimes just, you know, it's just certain things, certain situations, we allow it to pressure us to make decisions on things that we know are not good for us, not good for our financial situation. So some of that stuff, you need to make a conscious decision right now while we're moving into December. December 1st is tomorrow. Happy birthday to my grandson. He'll be 7 years old tomorrow. Kobe Amari Walker. That's my number one grandson. The reason I say he number one, because I only have one grandson, so I can say that until I get another grandson. But special shout out to my grandson, 7 years old. I cut the cord. But the thing that I'm looking at for him, case in point, his birthday is tomorrow. Everybody's talking about these toys we want to buy for him. I'm like, why don't we buy him a share of stock, or a share of, you know, a piece of stock? Even if you can't buy a full share, why don't we buy, you know, a certain part of the stock, right? Just so that way, you know, 10 years from now, when he's ready to go to college, he'll have something. Like, we'll change that whole paradigm. We'll stop buying, you know, Power Rangers and all this foolishness and, you know, other stuff that he's just going to throw around, toss it down, have fun with it today. Well, what if he had some stock? What if we start buying stock for him? Like, when I was a kid, you know, bless my aunt, so she's passed away now, but she used to buy, every birthday I used to get savings bonds. And savings bonds, if you all know, savings bonds probably give you like 1%, but every birthday she sent me a savings bond, 25, 50, what have you. So we need to get in the habit of start giving assets to our kids, our grandkids, so that way, as they grow and mature, they'll have something. We won't be, like we talked about before, we won't be going in a circle like they do on a computer. Like we won't just be, going in circles. We'll start stepping up because we got to start making steps up. So our children, they'll be in a different position than we're in. Like we're literally gonna have to put them into position. That's our right, our duty, and our responsibility as a parent, as a grandparent, as uncle, aunt, friend. Somebody has to make that decision. So when you think about holiday spending, think through all of those things and just have some, at the end of the day, have some discipline and have some ways to just say, hey, enough is enough. It's like gluttony. I mean, sometimes you didn't ate enough, but just because everything is on the table, don't mean you got to eat everything. The man who can help, people who have willpower and discipline, those are the people that really get ahead in life. And we have to get very disciplined with our money. So think about that as you go through the holiday season, because you definitely want to stay focused on being debt free in 2018 or getting to the point where you're in a much stronger position so you won't be the entree. Next, we're going to talk about, I'm going to talk about that next. Who's keeping score, right? Who's keeping score? Joe Cotton, I see you just joined. My wife, Tanya Alfred Thompson, I see you just joined. Wayne Callahan, hey, appreciate all of you all joining. But let's start talking about who's keeping score, right? And what I mean by who's keeping score is this. Whenever you see a big game, this week in Atlanta, SEC Championship, you got the ACC Championship in Charlotte, Miami and Clemson. You got Auburn and Georgia here. What if you went to that game, spent all that money for those tickets, and you got to the stadium and they ran all the plays and Nick Saban is doing his thing and all, but every time you looked at the scoreboard, you didn't know who was winning or losing. You just looked up there and it was just a blank scoreboard, just 0-0 the whole game. What would that mean to you? You wouldn't know who's doing what. Like, is Georgia winning? Are they losing? Are they going to go to the next, are they going to make it to the national championship round? Or who's keeping the score? So when you think about your life, your family, your goals, your aspirations, things that you're going to do, who's keeping score? Are you keeping score? Is your significant other keeping score? Somebody has to be keeping score, because if nobody's keeping score, right? If nobody has a goal in place, if nobody has that blueprint, there's no way for you to get from point A to point B. It's just not going to happen. So when I say keeping score, I'm talking about score on everything. First thing, not personal finance first. First thing is health. The first thing is health, right? A lot of people our age, and I'll use me for example, 50, 51, 52. We have as a race, we have the highest incidence of high blood pressure, diabetes, obesity, coronary artery disease. I'm seeing people now that I went to school with, and I don't consider myself old. Hey, can you come out? Oh, my gout flaring up. I'm like, this is too much. Who's keeping score? Somebody has to start keeping score on the foods that we eat, the diet that we take in. We can't keep eating all the stuff that we used to eat. And I'm the biggest proponent of it because anybody knows me, they know I love chocolate cake to the end. I love sweets, but check my blood pressure was up. I'm like, you know what, man, I haven't been keeping score. And other thing about men, what we do with our counterpart, like our wife, we don't tell our wives when things are going on for the most part, because we know they're going to keep reminding, hey, you can't have that fried chicken. So what we do, we don't even tell nobody. But somebody got to keep score. So somebody has to be keeping score on our health. Somebody has to be also keeping score on our wealth, right? Because if you're not keeping score, how much savings, how much debt, how much increase are you receiving in 2018? What kind of bonus are you looking for in 2018? How things are going to change for you in 2018? Who's keeping score? Holiday, we just talked about holiday spending. Somebody has to be doing the checks and balances so that way they can say, hey, we're in the red and we're going deeper and we're going from red to burgundy. So somebody has to keep score here. So those are the type of things when you start talking about keeping score, then I'm talking about procrastination. We set goals. We want to go here. We're going to be doing this year. We just set so many goals in 2017, but the goals that we haven't reached, a lot of it is because we've been procrastinating. And when you procrastinate, if nobody's keeping score on that procrastination, it just expands. Things that we should have done months and months ago, we never addressed it. But why? Because nobody's holding us accountable and we're not keeping score. So somebody has to start keeping score in order for us to keep moving forward in a forward direction. And that really brings us into, wrapping it up with goals. So as you set your goals, make sure that and we've talked about this before on the show, set some SMART goals, specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, time sensitive. SMART, that's an acronym. Specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, time sensitive goals. Not, no, I want to be rich. No, it has to be time sensitive, has to be attainable and realistic. So you're not going to say, I want to be a billionaire by this time next year. You may not be, if you're still in that $1,000 range, you might not be able to be a billionaire next year. But a realistic goal might be this time next year, I want to have $3,000 in savings. I want to have an emergency fund set up by this time next year. Within the next 6 months, I want to have $1,000, $1,500, $2,000 in savings in the event that something happens. Those are realistic goals. And you set a date on it by March of 2018, by February of 2018. Make them realistic, make them attainable, and you have to measure it. Because if you can't measure it, then we go back to the point I was just making. Who's keeping score? So if you can't measure it, you don't know if you're getting closer to it or further away. So those are the things that you want to be thinking about when you start talking about keeping score and setting goals. Make sure that you're setting SMART goals. The call-in number for tonight's show is 404-461-9368. 404-461-9368. If you have a question, comment, you want to put something in the chat, you want to call in, you can call in, or you can put something in the chat. I'll try to read the chat and weave it in between some of the other things I was doing. I don't think everybody was on when I mentioned this when we started off. I joke a lot on my show about my producer because normally when I'm in our studio, I always talk about, if you know a producer, let me know. But tonight I'm in the home studio, so I got to do everything. I got to put on the theme music. I got to get on the internet. It's a lot of work. So I'm like this. I'm feeling like, but the reason we couldn't do it from the home studio, well from the main studio is my producer, family member was having a health challenge and he wasn't able to make it in today. So I brought it to the house. So home studio, everything's working good, but it's a lot of movement. Boy, I'm gonna be tired when I finish. I'm, catch some of that Dallas and Redskins games, and I see Joe on. So Redskins, Dallas looking terrible. I know we got a lot of Cowboy fans out there too. Maybe that'll wake y'all up. Dallas looking terrible. The Skins looking worse. So we just gonna see who's gonna do it, but we still gonna watch it because we love football. But I'll get some of that in afterwards. But definitely want to keep my producer lifted up in prayer and just send out a special prayer that his family member has a speedy recovery and that is something that's not prolonged. Also want to send out, had a tragedy in our area today, and many times when things happen in our area, it doesn't have to be necessarily directly to us, but just in our area. Crossing guard that works in our area right up the street from my house. He was the crossing guard for the elementary school and for the middle school, and unfortunately today a motorist either was distracted, wasn't paying attention, and ran into her as she was working this morning, and she passed away from those injuries. And so we definitely want to, don't know her personally, but she's been working in our community for 10 plus years, always out there crossing guard. So when we hear about things like that, it just definitely makes me pause and think about them. Early this week, my youngest daughter, 23 years old, graduated from Howard, and a young lady that she met during freshman week, her freshman week in college, this was 4.5 years ago. Young lady was in a car accident Sunday night, and she passed away, 23 years old. So definitely want to keep her family, lifted up in prayers. Well, don't know their names, but just a thought, right? Just to send a thought out to God. It's like, God, give them comfort. Just think about that. All these parents that's on this, chat, all of us got kids and grandkids. Just think about, somebody bringing that, when somebody bring you some kind of news like that, man, that's deep. I can't even profess to even think about what, a parent would be going through, but I definitely want to keep all of those individuals in prayer. So now we're going into the fourth quarter of the show. Got about 15 minutes left. If you want to call in, 404-461-9368, 404-461-9368. So let's talk about habits. Well, before we get into habits, let's talk about inventory, because I talked about that earlier and touched on it. The ability to take inventory of yourself and your capacity, because many times we have talents, abilities, things that we could be doing that we're not tapping into, because what we're doing is we're giving what I call self-excuses, right? We could be doing more, we could be achieving more, but for whatever reason, some of us is kind of like thrown in the towel, like, coach, don't put me in the game, I'm good. Right? It's kind of like being on a team and you in the game, because as long as you live it, you in the game. So what I'm saying is we all, me included, we all need to just go somewhere, go to a quiet place and think through what's in front of us. Don't look back. That's the reason why your rearview mirror is like this small and your windshield is this big. Think what's in front of you. Think about the capacity that you have to, create the type of life that you have. Don't look back. Don't look at, oh, I've done this wrong, and oh, I've done that wrong, and oh, this didn't work out for me, and this didn't work right, and oh, they were right, I didn't. Just look forward. Because if you look forward and keep God in your life, then you could do like we used to do when we what we call shorties, right? We had dreams and aspirations, cops and robbers and hide and go seek and all these things. Just because you're in your 50s don't mean you're supposed to stop dreaming. Stay forward facing. Don't worry about what's behind you. Be forward facing. But you got to be willing to take some inventory of your life and work to your capacity. Because not working to your capacity, not tapping into those God-given talents, not using all of the abilities that you have, not reaching out to your network. Hey, man, I heard you in, graphic arts. I see my son just joined. Tapping into your network. Create the type of life that you want for yourself and for everybody that's around you. All your children, all your children's children. Let's tap into that. Let's not be in the game and then coach call you, all right, Thompson, go in the game. And I'm like, when we was growing up, man, that was the worst. Then nobody want to ride the bench. So why you going to get into your 50s? Why you going to get into your 50s and want to ride the bench? If you want to ride the bench, put it in the chat. If you want to ride the bench, all of y'all know about sports. I got cheerleaders on here. We got people that's play football, basketball, baseball. They done play sports at different levels, middle school, high school, college, pros. If you want to be on the bench, if you don't want the coach to put you in the game, put it in the chat. That's all I want to know. Put it in the chat. And God is the ultimate coach. So if God got you, you on the team, you in the game, the coach called you to get in the game, and you're like, no, coach, don't put me in. Please don't put me in. No, you want to be in the game. Get in the game. Get in the game, man. Don't worry about what nothing looks like, because it's all a mirage. If you can see it, it's temporary. Now, I'm going to just let you marinate on that for a little while. If you can see it, it's temporary, because the stuff that God can do, you can't even see it. You couldn't see that stuff that he brought you out of. You couldn't see that blessing that he gave you to get you to where you at right now. But you ain't think this was going to happen. Some of us on here, we didn't even think this was going to happen. Think about it. Get in the goddamn game. Get in the game, man. I'm telling you, the way I was raised, man, you talking about hazing. Hazing is nothing. Be on the team growing up with us, and you ride the bench. Man, God darn. Ain't nothing worse than that. If you ride the bench, if you ride the bench, bro, you got to go to practice. You got to run them sprints. You got to do everything everybody else does, and you don't get in the game. Is that crazy or what? That's crazy. So I'm saying now is the time. Take some inventory of your life. Sit back. Take some inventory of your life. Find out what your passions are. Find out what you're good at, and start to live. Just really start getting to a point where you can start to live and leave all of that junk behind. That's why I gave you all that scripture earlier. That's what it was talking about. If you can hold your tongue, if you can put your pride down and hold your tongue, when everybody or everything around you is going crazy, right? If you could do that, if you got that kind of discipline, man, you're going to have peace. You're going to have the kind of peace that's undescribable type of peace. So you got it, but you really have to, before you go into 2018, don't go into 2018 doing what you did in 2017, right? Don't go because the definition of insanity is what? Doing the same thing over and over and over, thinking you're going to get a different result. You're not going to get no different result. You got to change something. Just change something. If you get up on the left side of the bed, get on the right side of the bed. Simple stuff. If you wear your watch on your left arm, put it on the right. I challenge you all, make a change. Make a change. If you drive this way to work, tomorrow morning drive that way. Just make a change, right? Do whatever you need to do, because when you start to make change, you got to think, right? Because right now, a lot of people just on automatic pilot. Things ain't working the way that they want to work. Things ain't doing it because we on automatic. We in a rut. Get out of that rut. Say, you know what, man, I'm about to go to the moon. It's people out here that's dreaming up things like, you know what, we're going to come up with a rocket that people will pay us money for, get on the rocket, go to the moon and come back. They thinking about that kind of stuff every day. And what we talking about? Man, my number didn't come in today. Forget the goddamn number. Forget the number. You can do whatever you want to do if you take the capacity and use your tools. Use your tools. Just do something different. I promise you, if you start doing stuff different, you will get different results. You will get different results. And the results that you wishing and dreaming for are different than the ones that you've had before. So don't try to achieve stuff that you've already done. That's the other thing. Again, when you were playing sports, if you already did a backflip, that ain't nothing big. Like, okay, you did a backflip. We know you can do a backflip. Do 2 backflips. If you want to impress me, do 2 backflips and a cartwheel and do another flip in a pep rally. If you want to impress me, I'm just saying, do something different. Get outside of that box. You saying you faithful, you say you pray, you say you believe, then put it to work. Put it to work. Turn all that noise off, turn all the negative people out, all of that foolishness. And put it this way. This is something I thought about this week. If you spend, this is talking about capacity. If you spend more time on your Facebook timeline, trying to see what everybody's doing, and you haven't taken the time to just set aside and say, hey, okay, where am I at in my life? Am I getting what I want? Do I have any dreams? Do I want to be over here? Do I want to go to this place? Do I want to travel? What's going on with my grandson, my granddaughter, my aunt, my uncle, my husband, my wife, my mother-in-law, father-in-law? Am I being, if you haven't taken time to do, that's the kind of stuff we should get up and be working on every day. Not scrolling to no timeline, talking about who eating what and doing. I get it. I love it. That's why they call it social media. I get it. But it's not more important than you. It's nothing in the world that's more important than you. It's nothing or nobody more important than you. So if I can encourage you to do anything, and if you haven't heard anything I said today, hear this. Public service announcement. Is nobody on this planet more important than you. Nobody. Kids, grandkids, because everything starts with you. You are the blessing. Be a blessing to somebody. Be a blessing. So you can see how passionate I get about that because man, I just love doing what I'm doing. So make sure you take that capacity. Also wanted to let you all know on Wednesdays, a friend of mine, his name is Antonio Eubanks. He's a minister, Minister Antonio Eubanks. He has a show on personal finance. It's called Financed with ED. It's Finance ED 360. His name is Antonio Eubanks. Look him up on Facebook. This brother is doing a show on Wednesday nights at 8:30. And he's doing personal finance too, right? So the reason I'm sharing this with you all is this. I listened to his show because me and him were friends before we got into doing this. And this is something that we talk, and this is something that we need to do more of, right? It's 50 million African Americans in the world, at least 50 million African Americans in the US, right? I can't name about 4 people that are even talking on this subject. So I'm not worried about, oh, everybody's gonna start listening to Tony and not, bro, we need some help. I'm talking, we need some help from as many people as we can get. I talked to you all about Dr. Claude Anderson. I've talked to you all about Dr. Boyce Watkins. I've talked to you all about, now I'm telling you about Antonio, me, you got Angela Singletary, you got Kelvin Boston. I mean, it's only about 5 or 6 African Americans that's even talking about this. So if we're not talking about it, right? How are we gonna teach our kids about something that we don't know something about, right? And as I close out the show, because I got to get the book of the weekend and want to make sure I stay timely, I'm gonna give you an example of what I'm talking about. St. Parrish, I know it's Cynthia Newsom now. St. Parrish, I appreciate you joining. I love you. Pat Woods, love you all. D. Callahan, I already talked about you. Thelmisha, I appreciate you joining. I'm gonna leave you all with this. And if you know the answer to this, just call into the show or put it in the chat. I'm gonna say 2 phrases, and I want you to tell me what they mean, right? The first one is Dobre Utro. Dobre Utro. Dobre Utro. That's a saying. Dobre Utro. That's a saying. The other one is Doshikwa. 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 Dobre Utro. Doshikwa. If you know what I just said, and I'm gonna say it slow, because some people are putting in the chat, hey, okay, what's that? Hey, you speaking? Okay, I'm gonna give you 2 examples of what I'm talking about, and I want you to take this and marinate on it. Dobre Utro. Dobre Utro. And I'm gonna say the other one slow as well. Doshikwa. Doshikwa. So if you know the answers to that, and the reason I'm giving you those 2 sayings is this. If you don't know, and this is something that I always run into in personal finance, if you don't know the meaning of those 2 things those 2 phrases that I just said, Dobre Utro, or Doshikwa, if you have no idea, like if you're sitting out there like, shoot, I don't know. I mean, it might mean this. If you don't know, this is cut to the chase. If you don't know what it means, then guess what? It's whatever I say it is. It's whatever I say it is, because you don't know, right? So let's take it out and think about personal finance. If people are talking about different investments, if people are talking about different assets, if people are talking about different stocks, bonds, mutual funds, Bitcoin, all this other stuff that's going on, if you don't know the language, if you don't know Dobre Utro, right? Like I just shared with y'all, my grandson's getting ready to turn 7 tomorrow. If I don't know the meaning of Dobre Utro, how can I tell him the meaning of Dobre Utro? How can I get that down into 3 or 4 generations down, where I know once I leave this planet, once I transition on, that my family knows what Dobre Utro means. And they understand what Doshikwa means. So that's why I'm sharing with you all. Let's make sure that we're spending some time getting that capacity, figuring out what your capacity is. Are you working to your capacity? Are you setting goals? Keep focused on that spending, that holiday spending. Don't get twisted around. Don't get mixed up in that foolishness, because when January comes, light bill gonna need to be due, water bill gonna need to be due, car note gonna need to be due. And none of them people want to hear nothing about that watch you bought for old boy or old girl or whatever you did during the holidays, okay? So make sure that you're doing that as well, and hold yourself accountable. So this evening, I always have to leave you all with a book. So book of the week. D. Callahan said, invest in yourself and your family is a must. No doubt. Jesse Griffin, I appreciate you joining, my brother. St. Newsom, confirmation. You speaking the truth. Wow. Man, said I can't explain it. No, this is what I've been made. I'm on purpose. I think that's the easiest way to say it. I'm on purpose. And I'm gonna give you all an answer to the riddle before I talk about this book. Dobre Utro. This is something that somebody taught me many years ago. Dobre Utro means good morning in Russian. That's what Dobre Utro. So if you ever hear somebody say Dobre Utro is good morning in Russian, right? That's Russian. And I believed it when somebody told me, and then I ran into a guy that was Russian, and I hit him with that, and he was like, oh, you know he was messed up. You know he was messed up when he's like, he looked at me, he was like, damn, boy, y'all know, yeah, we know Russian too, bro. We the original people. We know every goddamn thing. But I hit him with that Dobre Utro, and he was like, wow. So Dobre Utro means good morning in Russian. But here's the key to this, what I just talked about, Doshikwa. Doshikwa is a word that I made up like years ago because I go around doing these seminars, public speaking engagements, things of that nature. Doshikwa is a word that I made. I made the word up. I just made it up. So if you don't know what it means, I could tell you Doshikwa means good night in Swahili. It means good morning in Hebrew. It means this in Arabic. But if you don't know, it's whatever I say. So if you don't know what's going on in this world and in this country and all the stuff that's, we the entree, somebody else is speaking a language to us that we don't understand. And we are native. We are natives of the U.S. And it's a whole game is going on around us every day, 24 hours a day. It don't stop. Money, currency, trading, it's 24 hours a day globally. Learn the language. What I'm doing on my show is I just do the basics. We ain't going into derivatives and options and all of that. We're not doing all of that. We're going to stay basic. I just want you all to know the basics, right? The basics. Yeah, you're getting close to Dobre Utro. But so I always have to leave you all with a book. We always have a book of the week. The book of the week this week is The Power of Focus. The Power of Focus. And the author is Jack Canfield, Mark Victor Hansen, and Les Hewitt. Now, those first two people, you probably know them from the success that they had with Chicken Soup for the Soul, right? Mark Victor Hansen and Jack Canfield. Chicken Soup for the Soul was probably the largest selling book in the history of book selling. But this book, The Power of Focus, in this book, what they talk about is this: the things that you can achieve if you just focus on just that. If you just focus on whatever that one thing is, that goal, that whatever you're trying to do, if you focus just on that, that's what you would get. The power of focus. And like I always say, I never bring you all a book that I haven't read. So all my books, I write in the margins, so I'm not going to bring you something, again, because I'm a big proponent. Don't be telling me about something that you've never done, never read. This is an awesome book. It's a very good book. And one of the things in the book that it talks about is having a blueprint, right? You all may not be able to see that, but right over here, it talks about, right over here, it talks about creating your own personal blueprint. Before you build a house, before you build a structure, before they put a stake in the ground, they have a blueprint. They already know what it's going to look like before they start building on it. You've seen it. You've seen them building houses, building malls, building whatever they do. They start with a blueprint. So as we're doing things in our life, we need to create a blueprint for ourselves as well. So create the blueprint so you know what it looks like in 2018. You got X number of dollars in the bank. You got a certain type of, income. Your kids are in place. You got life insurance in place. That's the blueprint. You just going to set it up. And you don't have to set it up based on mine or somebody else's or somebody, you can't do that. Forget what you can't do. Just put it in play. Just have an imagination and just think through it and create a blueprint. That way, when you have your blueprint, you got your goals, your budgets, you got your blueprint. life is good, because then if you start to kind of sway away, you're like, whoop, I said I was going to do this. Whoop, I said I wasn't going to be eating no more beef. Whoop, I said I wasn't going to eat no pork. Whoop, I said I want to lose 10 pounds. Whatever it was, I was going to check my blood pressure every day. I'm going to make sure I take my medication. I'm going to check on old boy. I'm going to let that beef go, because I'm too old to be having beefs. Because when you have beefs, your blood pressure run up, and the other person, they home, they slobbing, and you worrying about it. They sleep. So let the beef go. Blessing people. Forgiveness is the key, right? Just forgive them. Let it go. I mean, you can't win anyway. You can't make people do what you want them to do anyway. The only person that can change a person is the person. All right, check that out. The only person that can change a person is the person. You're not going to change them. When they're ready to change and they make a decision that they're going to change, that's when they're going to change. But until then, stay tuned, because we're on every week, 8 to 9 p.m. The gentleman that was supposed to join us this week, I'll reach back out to him, because they're a business owner that was going to come on and talk to us about the steps. Because one of my pet peeves is, people say, oh, I'm so successful, I'm doing this, and I got this, and I got that. And I'm like, how you did it? I mean, how did you do it? I mean, what do I need to do? Like, do you have a mentoring program? Are you going to show some people how to do that as well? Are you going to show some people how to become millionaire? I'm a big believer in that, because, and that's really where this show started from. Not to take us into overtime, but I'm going to share with you all this, and then we're going to leave it for this week. That's really where this show came from, because I really kind of got to a point where I felt like a lot of people are being dealt a disservice when they go and worship, and your spiritual leader, minister, pastor, bishop, deacon, archbishop, pope, whoever is the leader of your spiritual place of worship, right? I don't care where I go. I don't care if I'm in Florida. I don't care if I'm in DC. I don't care if I'm in Atlanta. If you go into a church anywhere in the United States and they start talking about I've seen that everybody in here in 2018 is going to have a financial breakthrough. I promise you, I don't care what church you're in. I don't care if it's 2 people in the congregation or 20,000. That church is getting ready to go nuts. I mean nuts. You getting ready to have a financial breakthrough, and you getting rid of all of that burden that it's lifted, it's gone. But here's the thing though. So it just got me to thinking, but then when the service is over and everybody had a chance to catch their breath and they get back on, when you get out to the car, when you get out to the parking lot and you get back to the house and you put your key in the door and you turn the key, you go in the house. This is about an hour later, right? What steps do you have? Like, where do you start to have a financial breakthrough? Like, I don't remember getting in it. They said I was going to have a financial breakthrough, but I don't remember getting those steps about how I was going to have a financial breakthrough. Who was going to measure it? Who was going to, keep score? Who was going to tell me if I'm doing this right or wrong? That's how I got into this situation, figuring it out myself and getting eaten up at the same time. So that's what really kind of prompted me to go ahead and start to use this platform to talk to as many people as I can. And then I start having a vision like, you know what? If 10 people or 100 people think this is good information, what if I was in front of 1,000 people? What if I was in front of 10,000 people? And that's where the vision came from for this show. The other thing I'm going to start doing is really working with these young people that are graduating from college. I'm not going to get into it now, but our college students are in peril. And I'll just leave it like that until next week's show. I'll talk about it next week. I'll make sure that's on the topics for next week. I'm talking about young people that we've encouraged and we've, talked to them about the importance of going to college and why they need to go to college and the importance of a college degree. And I want to share some things with you all that's really, 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 really true that's happening to our young people right now, that's putting them in peril, that's putting them at risk. So I'm going to start reaching out to some of these administrators at the different colleges and university levels to say, I'll come in and do a seminar for free, just to let them know what's waiting on them on the other side of that degree. And we're still raising money for the college completion scholarship funds. So if you go out to GoFundMe, you can go to GoFundMe /completion scholarships and you'll see that comes up. And then we're also on PayPal. You can go to PayPal/American Financial Literacy, and you can make a donation there. If you work for a corporation, this is a great, and I'll keep talking about this. If you work for a corporation, we've set up our nonprofit where it's in a national database. So it don't matter if you work for Florida Power and Light, you could be working for the U.S. Congress, you can work for Cisco, you can work for UPS. If you go into where you can give, and I'm saying give $5. If you give $5 out your paycheck, most employers will match the $5. So now we get $10. So if you do that every pay period, say in a year you done gave, what, $100, you get 26 pay periods, so about $115. But they're going to match $115. Now you've donated $230 to the cause. So really trying to get to $1 million, because it's a lot of students out here that's struggling that need some assistance. So I figured, hey, why not? Why not? We just spent 5.6. It's right there. We just spent $5 billion on Friday. $5 billion with a B, and a lot of that was us. So I figured $1 million to help some students out, definitely worth it. I thank you all for joining this evening. If you joined late, tell me. I just thank each and every one of you for taking time out your busy day. Jimmy Smith, I see you. Hey, love you, brother. Delmisha, definitely you can go back and watch and just share this with somebody. I mean, I'm not a big, definitely share and like, because these different social media platforms, they like to see that kind of stuff, but I'm not going to stop anyway. On YouTube now, so the videos are starting to be uploaded to YouTube. So you can go to YouTube and catch it, boy. I'm on YouTube. You go to YouTube and go to the Daily Bread Radio Show. I'm on there as well. So tell some people if they don't want to, some people, I don't like to be on Facebook. I ain't on Facebook. Well, go to YouTube. And if they don't like going to YouTube, go to PayPal and give them $5. And if they don't like PayPal, go to GoFundMe to the college completion scholarship and give $5. Just $5. I mean, $5. That's less than a chicken sandwich at Jenkins. $5, and you can help a student, graduate from college and really improve our society. So I want to thank each and every one of you all for tuning in this week. Next week, we're going to talk about college students. We're going to talk about student loans. A lot of us still have student loans. We're going to talk about student loans. And I'm going to reach out to this business owner and see if I can get him on next week. But you all have a blessed week. Keep these people in prayer that I talked about. The young lady that works in my community that was a crossing guard that unfortunately she was struck by a car today and was killed. And also the young lady that she passed away this week. And anybody that's in your space that may have had some, that passed away this week or recently during this season, just think about them. Just pray. You may not need to know their name. You don't need to know the family name, none of that. But just say, hey, get that family some comfort. Just comfort them. Just comfort them. I thank you all. Y'all have a beautiful week. And now that, because I don't have my infamous producer, I have to do everything my own. It's do it yourself. Hey, I had to do it all myself today, y'all. So tell my producer, if y'all see him, tell I need that joker, boy, because I'm doing too much. And I appreciate y'all. Y'all have a beautiful evening and a blessed week. Peace. Boy, there we go.